Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here. So I'm going to start off with a 16-inch work wreath, and it's from Hobby Lobby. Actually, pretty much everything on this wreath is from Hobby Lobby. And I've got this 10-inch deco mesh that I got there, and I cut these in 40-inch pieces because I got 2 rolls, and I'm actually used to making my own work frame. And it normally has 18 pipe cleaners, but this has 16, so I would say definitely don't cut it at 40. You can cut them at 30 and potentially use the extra mesh on something else, on maybe a mini wreath or something. But here I'm doing the cruffle method, where I roll it up 3 times on each side. So I roll it up on the first side, clip it, flip it around, and roll it up 3 times on this side. And then I just scrunch it up all the way in the middle, creating that ruffle. And then I connect both sides together, and I pinch it all in the middle, and making sure I put that middle point right into the pipe cleaner. I try to make sure that all of my mesh is added into the pipe cleaners evenly. That way you don't have one side sticking up higher than the other side, and they're all pretty uniform. So now that I have all those in here, I've got 4 different ribbons that I've got from Hobby Lobby. There's 2 2.5 and 2 1.5 inch. The solid colors are actually a velvet, and it's really nice. And right now the Christmas items are 50% off. So I've got this, I think it was Unique in the Creek that created this ribbon. Basically helps you build your ribbon tails. And so I'm cutting 14-inch ribbon tails. So I actually have 2 sets of ribbons that I'm going to use. And there's 16 ties, so I'm going to cut 8 of each of the ribbons. So this solid red is actually going to go with the green 2.5 ribbon, and the green and red 1.5 is going to go with the white 1.5. So here I am. Once I've got it all cut, I have my 1.5 inch ribbons that I'm just going to go ahead and cut those at an angle. You can cut those in a dovetail if you want to. Absolutely up to you, and when you make your wreath the way you want to. But this is typically how I like to do my 1.5 inch, just to give it a little different variation in the look. So I dovetail the 2.5 inch ribbons, and here I'm just going to show you how I do it, where I fold it lengthwise, and then I start about 1 inch down and cut upwards towards the wired edge, just cutting out a little V shape. And I do that all together. So I've actually set my ribbons up together, folded them together, helps me find the middle place of my ribbons. And then I just scrunch it up in the middle and I bend it into a V shape and kind of get my edges out. And then I add that right on top of my deco mesh. And then any of the excess tinsel, I go ahead and snip off. You can leave it, fold it, tuck it, hide it, whatever you want to do. Curl it, use it as a little bit of extra decor. Add some little round filler vase balls on there for a little bit of extra decor. Whatever you want to do with it, I just wanted to be able to just trim this off. Now I do know that I have two sets of the same ribbon tails together, and unfortunately that was just the way the work wreath was, because at the bottom on the outer rings at the end I had two of the same together. And then on the inner ones, again, I had two of the same sets together. So there was really no way around it unless you use three different sets or if you just use one set of ribbons. Now here I'm just making a little extra bow and I'm doing 7-inch tails. And then I'm starting off with 6-inch loops. And then I'll kind of go down a little bit further from 6-inch to 5.5 and 5 inches, but I do use I think it's just 5 different ribbons. So if I remember correctly, it's 2.5 inch ribbons, and then no, yes, 2.5 inch ribbons. Then I add this one ribbon that's 2 inches, and this was actually from Walmart. So this is the only ribbon that's not from Hobby Lobby. But I did add this in. And I typically don't like to leave little scraps of ribbon left, but sometimes if I know I'm going to use a lot of that same color in different wreaths for, let's say, for Valentine's or for Christmas, then I will tend to save some of the scraps just so I can add them to the bow to make the bows a little bit fluffier, have a little more variation than just the ribbon tails. So it all works out. So as I add this red 1.5 inch ribbon, I do add 2 loops, but then to finish it off, I add a center loop with it as well. So once I've got all that, I pull it up carefully and I use a 22 gauge floral wire to hold it all together, and then I just twist the bow so I can hold the floral wires tight. So I can make sure it's a tight, that the bow is held on pretty tightly. Then what I'll do is I'll get my wreath, and I added the signs, and y'all, my camera cut off and I didn't realize that, so I apologize. You'll get to see those cute Grinch signs at the end when you get to see the final look. But yes, I just actually add the bow on to the right side, and then what I'll do is I'm just going to go through and actually just kind of fluff out my bows, trim the tails by cutting the 1.5 inch at an angle, and then the 2 and the 2.5 inch I dovetailed those ribbon tails. And then definitely you gotta fluff those bows to make them nice, full, and beautiful. And I do add some other items to this wreath, but again, my camera cut off. So I apologize, but I hope you love the final look of this wreath. I enjoyed making it, and I appreciate you guys stopping by, spending some time with me, and I hope you guys have a very blessed week.